Krishna. So today there are several celebrations. So we will skip the verse. We'll skip the verse and we'll talk about Snan Yatra and the two disappearances, Mukunda Datta and Shiva's Pandit. So we will start with Jayanilo. Jayanilo Premadana Karuna Prachur. Jayanilo Premadana Karuna Prachur. Hina Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur. Kaha mora swarup rupa kaha sanatan. Kaha das raghunatha patita pavan. Kaha mora bata juga kaha kaviraj. Eka kale kotha gela Goranatha Raj. Pasane kotiba martha anale pasiba. Goranga gonera nidhi kotha gele pabo. Se sabha sangira sange je koilo bilas. Se sangana paya kande narotama das. Jayanilo Premadana Karuna Prachur. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nittai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Nittai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Jai Ho Vishnupad Paramahansa's Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Ho Vishnupad Paramahansa's Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anant Koti Vishnuvinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mathura Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Sambed Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guru. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagannath Snani Yatra Ki Jai. Mukunda Nattam Ki Jai. Shri Sridhar Ki Jai. So, Om Jnana Trimandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshuramitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnapadaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Vicharni Visheshamiti Paschata Desjana Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindu Bheva Chapatita Nam Pamne Bheo Vaishnave Bheo Namo Namah. Namo Shri Krishna Bhutale Shri Gopal Vishnu Samhita Namne Prabhu Buddhasa Saita Prasatsa Pachara So like we said, today is the day for Snan Yatra. So we'll start with that. Snan Yatra means bathing ceremony of Lord Jagannath. We all know Jagannath is very merciful, and he comes out and gives universal darshans to everyone. But why does he need Snan Yatra? Why do we need to be bathing deities, God, Krishna? He's pure through and through. He's the purest. But the deities are so kind, Krishna is so kind, that he comes in various deity forms and allows us to serve him in various forms. And bathing the deities is not for purifying the deities who are non-different from Krishna himself. They are pavitra parambhavdahi, they are supremely pure. But when we bathe the archvigraha of the deities, the manifested form in wood, stone, metal, we are the ones who get purified. So we cannot, like, it's we don't see Krishna as himself in the deity form until we actually serve him. It's by our service that we get the purified vision to be able to see the Lord in the deities. And we do that every day. We bathe the deities every day. And that is for our purification. So this Snan Yatra festival is very ancient. It was started millions of years ago by King Indradumna. Indradumna Maharaj, who first got the deities of Jagannath, Balram and Subhadra carved, and he started the worship of those deities. So he arranged before the worship, before we worship deities, we go through the purification bathing of the deities. So he arranged this bathing. And so today is actually the appearance, they consider the appearance day of Lord Jagannath. And so there is a whole detailed ceremony. It's a big, huge deal in Puri. He is brought out, all three deities, Balram, Subhadra and Jagannath, they're brought out onto this huge platform that is built over in there. It's called the Snana platform. And they're brought on there, and then there are like 108 pots of water. They're brought from this sacred well called Sunakwa, golden well. And it is opened only once a year, exclusively for bathing of the deities. And there are these 108 pots built of copper and gold. And there's a whole process for it. And this water is taken to another mandap where they're infused with all these refined sandalwood, turmeric, and rice, fragrant flowers, and some medicinal herbs. And with that, there is a huge abhishek. They're poured over the deities. It said 35 pots for Lord Jagannath, 33 for Balaram, 22 for Subhadramai, and 18 pots for Lord Sudarshan. So there's like huge grand shower, blowing of conch shell, beating of drums, lots of singing. I haven't personally seen it, but I've watched it on TV. There's all these, they have live, and it's amazing. In fact, I think we can see it better on TV than we can if we actually went there, because you never really get to close enough to really see it. So it's amazing. And then what happens? The Lord, they're all bathed on this big platform outside. He catches a cold. He gets sick. Of course, again, how can the Lord get sick? But this is the Lord's reciprocation, spiritual reciprocation with his devotees. He gets sick. He plays just like human being, so that he can have a leela. When we love someone and they become sick, we take care of them. So Krishna gives his devotees this opportunity to serve him in a mood of separation. How separation? When he's sick, he's in isolation. The deities go in hiding. There's a secret sanctum in Jagannath Puri, and the deities go in there. And the only ones allowed in there are his servants and the Rajved, the royal doctor, Vaidya. And they take care of them. And, there's all these herbs all ground up and served and all. So it's not like the lordships just go in hiding, everybody else goes, relaxes, because there is no active service happening in the temple. So it's not like a vacation. It's really not like a vacation for the devotees. It's meant to be thinking of their lordships in separation. It's meditating on them. It's sharing that mood of separation that the gopis feel for the Lord. So when suddenly the Lord, just imagine, 15 days, Radha Golokananda doesn't give us darshan. We could either go, relax on the beach, don't show up. There's no service. But the reality is that because we serve Him every day, we would be, or we should be, in separation. We should be feeling that separation that the gopis felt when Krishna left. So that's the mood that devotees are in these 15 days when Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra are not giving darshan. They are agonized. They are ecstatic, spiritually ecstatic, feeling separation. And they spend this fortnight in the holy name. They absorbed in the holy name, chanting, singing, reading scriptures. And then anticipating when the Lord would get better. When would He come out? And when does He come out? He comes out for Rath Yatra. So today is the Purnima. Purnima is when He has the bathing and gets sick. And then comes out at Rath Yatra and gives His darshan to the whole world. So that is the Shnan Yatra and the significance and this period in Puri of meditation, separation, and union with the Lord at Rath Yatra, which is this year would be on July 18th. So with that, we will talk a bit about Sri Mukunda Datta, who is the singer of Mahaprabhu's heart. He sang for Mahaprabhu. He's a very prominent, intimate associate of the Lord, right from the childhood. They went to school together. They were classmates. And he is known as the sweet singer of Sankirtan movement. He's revered as for his musical devotion and extreme humility. And he's got some very unique place in the early pastimes of the Lord. He's born in Chittagong district of Bangladesh, in the village of Chanhara. He's the brother of another celebrated devotee, Vasudev Datta. We hear about both of them in the Lord's pastimes. He's classmate of the Lord. He moved to Navdvip at a young age to pursue his studies and was a classmate and very close friend of Nimai Pandit. At Ganga Das's school. And his spiritual identity is recognized as Mukunda Kanta. Madhukanta, an eternal singer in the spiritual world who possesses a honey-sweet throat used to please Radha and Krishna. So in Vrindavan Leela, he is Madhu Kanta, an eternal Leela of the Lord. He is Madhu Kanta. Madhu means sweet, honey, and Kanta means throat. And he's had some very sweet pastimes. He is considered someone who awakened the Lord's devotion. Of course, Lord's eternally devoted to Krishna. I mean, he's Krishna himself, but he's eternally devoted to Krishna. But in his earthly pastimes, there was a period when he wasn't manifesting that devotion. So before the Lord publicly revealed his identity as a Supreme Lord, he acted as a proud scholar and defeated various Shastric Pandits by logic and debate. And Mukunda Datta, who was always deeply absorbed in Krishna consciousness from childhood, in those days he would purposely avoid the Lord because the Lord was way too much in the logic and debates and all that, and in materialistic and academic arguments. But when the Lord came back from Gaya, he was filled with ecstatic love for Krishna. And Mukund Datta was the one who would test read verses from Srimad Bhagavatam for the Lord. And that was his testing whether the Lord actually had changed his mode from the academic to bhakti. And so he would read these Bhagavatam verses, and on listening to Mukund Datta's recitation, the Lord would fall into spiritual ecstasy. And that is what initiated that whole public phase of the Sankirtan movement. And there's a pastime where Mukunda Datta is considered such a great devotee of the Lord that there is this pastime where the Lord punished him at one point. Mukunda Datta used to had this funny pastime. He would, in the Lord's company, he would be a bhakta. But then when he would go out to some of the other pandits, he would be in that mood of whatever the mood was. And if it was at that point mundane philosophies, he would get into that. So he was considered a chameleon at times. So the Lord rejected him at one point and said he didn't want anything to do with him. And in this 21-hour ecstatic kirtan, the famous kirtan, where the Lord showed his form, the actual form to the devotees present, Mukunda Datta was forced to stand outside. So Mukunda Datta sent a message. He asked the Lord from outside. I believe he shouted and said, would he ever get the mercy of the Lord in any future life? And the Lord said, you will receive my mercy, but only after passing through 1 million births. And instead of becoming discouraged, somebody told us, oh, you have to take 1,000,000 births before you will get. I mean, we're here because Prabhupada promised us to take us back to Godhead in this birth. But if Prabhupada said, you have to take birth 1,000,000 times, we would be just like totally discouraged, you know. But Mukunda Datta, instead of becoming discouraged, he started dancing and jumping and shouting, only 1,000,000 births, only 1,000,000 births. He was ecstatic, simply knowing that the Lord's mercy was guaranteed eventually. And seeing this absolute faith and deep devotion, the Lord's heart instantly melted, and he called them inside immediately. And that's when Mukunda got to see the Lord's true form and revealed his form in the Shatput form and as the Lord himself, as Krishna himself. So, and because of his Madhukanta, because of his sweet voice, he used to, and he was also trained in all the classical music, musical meters and ragas and all. So in Srivas Pandit's courtyard, when there were these big kirtans, he would lead the kirtan and started the Sankirtan movement, part of that. So he is the epitome of full faith, pure faith. And also shows us how by compromising our spiritual focus, we could get into trouble. He was very fortunate because his spiritual focus was very solid. Even when he compromised it, it was still there. But we need to be careful that we never compromise it. And now we will talk about Sri Sridhar Pandit, who is popularly known as Kolavacha Sridhar. He was a very close associate of the Lord in the Navdvip pastimes. And he is also he was a very poor man. And he earned his living by selling banana leaves, banana stems, and leaf cups. So Prabhupada has talked about him at several times in his books. So I thought it would be nice to read a little bit of what Prabhupada says about this great personality. Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Devotion, when he talks about the characteristics of the pure devotional service, he says, Prabhupada writes, still he was spending 50% of his small income on the worship of the Ganges. And with the other 50%, he was somehow living. Lord Chaitanya once revealed himself to this confidential devotee, Kolavacha Sridhar, and offered him any opulence he liked. But Sridhar informed the Lord that he did not want any material opulence. He was quite happy in his present position and wanted only to gain unflinching faith and devotion onto the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. That is the position of pure devotees. If they can be engaged 24 hours each day in devotional service, they do not want anything else, not even the happiness of liberation or of becoming one with the Supreme. In Gora Ganesh Deepika 133, Kola Veche Tayak Kayata Pandit Sridhar Dvija Asid Breje Hasekari Yo Namna Kusuma Sava. The cowherd boy named Kusumasya. Kusumasava, who joked with Lord Krishna and made him laugh in Rajbhumi, appeared in Lord Chaitanya's pastime as the learned Brahmana named Kolavecha Sridhar. So he has as we know, all of these associates who appeared in Navdvip, in Vrindavan, they're all eternal servants of the Lord and appeared in Raj Leela. Srila Prabhupada in his purport for 5th canto, chapter 19, verse 7 says, in the Chaitanya Bhagavat it is said, Kola veche seva kare dekha bhagya sima, Brahma sima kandayara dekhiya mahima, Dane jane panditye Krishna nahi paye, Kevala bhakti re vasa Chaitanya Gosani. Behold the great fortune of the devotee Kola Vecha. Lord Brahma and Shiva shed tears upon seeing his greatness. One cannot attain Lord Krishna by any amount of wealth, followers, or learning. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is controlled only by pure devotion. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a very sincere devotee whose name was Kolavacha Sridhar and whose only business was to sell pots made of the skin of banana trees. Whatever income he had, he used 50% of the worship of Mother Ganges, and with the other 50% he provided for his necessities. On the whole, he was so very poor that he lived in a cottage that had a broken roof with many holes in it. He could not afford bronze utensils, and therefore he drank water from an iron pot. Nevertheless, he was a great devotee of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a typical example of how a poor man with no material possessions can become a most exalted devotee of the Lord. The conclusion is that one cannot attain shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna or Sri Chaitanya Gosani through material opulence. That shelter is attainable only by pure devotional service. And then in Adi Leela 10.67, Kola Veje Sridhar Prabhora Priya Das Yana Sane Prabhu Kare Nitya Parihas. The 29th branch was Sridhar. The Lord is explaining the branches of love for the Lord. And he said the 29th branch was Sridhar, a trader in banana tree bark. He was a very dear servant of the Lord. On many occasions, Lord played jokes on him. In the purport, Prabhupada says, Sridhar was a poor Brahmin who made a living by selling banana tree bark to be made into cups. Most probably he had a banana tree garden and collected the leaves, skin, and pulp of the banana trees to sell daily in the market. He spent 50% of his income to worship the Ganges, and the balance he used for his subsistence. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his civil disobedience movement in defiance of the Qazi, Sridhar danced in jubilation. The Lord used to drink water from his water jug. Sridhar presented a squash to Sachi Devi to cook before Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. Every year, he went to see Lord Chaitanya at Jagannath Puri. According to Kavi Karnapur, Sridhar was a cowherd boy of Vrindavan whose name was Kusumasava. In his Gaura Ganesha Disha Deepika, verse 133, it is stated, Kola Vecha Taya Kyatha Pandit Sridharo Duija Asit Vraje Hasekaro Yo Namne Kusumasava. The cowherd boy, known as Kusumasava in Krishna Leela, later became Kolavacha Sridhar during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela at Navadvip. And then in 68, verse 68, 1068, Adi. Prabhu, Yandra Nityalaya, Thoda Mocha Phal, Yara Phula, Lalu Patre Prabhu Pilad Jal. Every day Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu jokingly snatched fruits, flowers and pulp from Sridhar and drank from his broken iron pot. So this is the story of Kolavacha Sridhar, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, who, although he was very, so Prabhupada talks some more in this purport as well. So he was, like we talked about earlier, he was offered the greatest benediction of any wealth, power, heavenly pleasures, or mystic perfections, but he only prayed that the same playful Nimai who used to visit his market stall should forever remain the Lord of his heart. So today is the disappearance day of both of these great personalities, Mukundadatta and Sridhar Pandit. And they are both full of humility, simplicity. They're satisfied with the Lord's, whatever the Lord provides. Chant the names of the Lord and sing and dance. So we pray to them for their blessings, that we can do the same. Thank you. We have a minute or two. Does anybody like to say something, add something on any of these three topics? It's amazing how the Lord was so generous. He would go into this hut and drink from this iron pot. So, this Lord of the universe is doing that. Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Panchatattva ki jai.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Ago Vidamaniyam Shesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakale Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Praganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham
Jamim Govindam Adi Purusham. Namahum Vishnupajaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Namaniti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurani Bacha Nay Nivaseshanari Pasyachane Zatanai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gurana Siva Sari Go back to Brenda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Siva Sadi No Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Dad, aku rokenanan, aku rokenanan, hey. Dad, aku rokenanan, aku rokenanan, hey. No, Rod, hey, no, 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 Rate, Nate, Rate, Nate. Sri Radha, hey. Jai Om.
Chaitadharpanamarjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreyakairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Paramvijayate. They're very beautiful today. So nice. Narva Shaktis Tatrapita Nihamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadaram Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nayanam Galashu Darya Vadanam Gad Gadarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanamagrahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshushavarashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyava Padamritam Anastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatava Vidadatulam Pato Mat Prananatastusa Eva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are no hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I fall into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my hair shake up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Ki Jai.
So Chaitanya addressed the deities today, and it's one of my favorite outfits. Such bhakti and devotion. Oh, Arjuna said he helped you. She did Krishna. What? Oh, good. So you did. So you did Radha. Okay, Arjuna City and Chaitanya. Good combination. Wonderful. They're radiating their mercy on us, and that's what we need. So much mercy. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.